Republic TV this Tuesday afternoon. I'm Shivangi Shukla and we're getting a big exclusive right now. Big breaking news coming in Republic TV. Republic has accessed the charge sheet. I repeat, Republic has accessed the charge sheet file against Partha, Chatterjee and Arpita. Big news coming in, viewers. It's a big exclusive. Republic has the inside details and the details of the charge sheet against Partha, Chatterjee and Arpita. This is coming in the backdrop of the recruitment scam. And Niranjan is joining me with all the details. Niranjan, this is in fact a very, very long charge sheet, 14,000 long page document, and Republic has all the details. Niranjan.
Well, I've accessed the full charge sheet in the Bengal job scam. This is the SSC recruitment scam or the Bengal job scam. The full charge sheet is with us. It's a 152-page document. 152-page document with details out, the money laundering. This is Shravan. Shravan has accessed the full charge sheet. So I'm going to get Shravan live. The minute I have Shravan live, we'll go across to him. But the 152-page charge sheet detailing out all the crimes of Partha Chatterjee. Look at this. Name and address of accused persons. Accused number 1 in the charge sheet, Partha Chatterjee. Partha Chatterjee is accused number 1. Arpita Mukherjee, accused number 2. Details are here. Former West Bengal minister, one of the senior most leaders of the Trinamool Congress until recently. Partha Chatterjee, accused number 1 in the Bengal job scam charge sheet. Arpita Mukherjee, his close aide, accused number 2 in the Bengal job scam charge sheet. And these are more details that we are accessing. The other accused include HA Entertainment, Ananta Texfab, Symbiosis Merchants, Century Engineering, Viewmore High-Rise Private Limited, APA Utility Services, and this is prosecution complaint under Section 44, read with Section 44, essentially under Money Laundering Act. And I have the full details here with me. I'm going to go through the details. It's 152 pages, ladies and gentlemen, and we are breaking the details with us. And we have the summary and the details of all the charges and how the Enforcement Directorate is substantiating the charges. Now, brief facts of the case. The ED detailing out the case that the FR, as per the FR teacher's eligibility test was held, accused persons illegally, arbitrarily gave appointments to ineligible candidates by corrupt means. Primary teacher jobs have been purchased in lieu of a huge amount of money. Extraneous consideration extended by the ineligible candidates to get appointments as assistant teachers in primary schools, etc. And I'm going to read out the next part. And the Enforcement Directorate in its charge sheet detailing out the full case, talking about how the Calcutta High Court had also directed the West Bengal Board of Primary Education to submit applications submitted by candidates who wanted their own OMR sheets to be reviewed or examined, and going on to detail the full facts of how the Board of Primary Education failed to produce any of the above. So a very, very scathing document in this charge sheet. They've detailed out, look at this, names and addresses of the accused persons. Kishore and Shravan both joining us as we access the charge sheet. The details of the charge sheet. Partha Chatterjee here, former West Bengal minister, accused number 1. Accused number 1 in the Bengal job scam charge sheet. Accused number 2 is Arpita Mukherjee, mentioned here. And Shravan is joining us with the details. He's gone through the details of the charge sheet. Why don't you take us through the details, Shravan? Shravan.
Well, in fact, Niranjan, we've just got our hands on this charge sheet, 152 pages, the operative part of the charge sheet that was filed by the Enforcement Directorate in a local court in West Bengal yesterday. But if I've been able to perhaps just quickly go through the statement that has been recorded of Partha Chatterjee by the Enforcement Director. Now, it turns out what they have essentially done is that they have confronted Partha Chatterjee with certain documents that were basically recovered from his premises. In fact, if I can quote from page number 44 of the charge sheet, in which they are categorically stating that admit cards of certain candidates were found from his residence, to which Partha Chatterjee essentially says that he's not acted upon any of these documents. All the questions that were asked to him with regards to what was his department papers were doing, or the admit cards that were doing at his residence. He says that he's acknowledged that these documents were being dropped at his residence, and for explanation he stated that he did not know what was written on those documents, whereas the fact is that all these documents were elaborately explained in the questions asked to him during the course of the recording his statement. That's point number one. Now, if you take a look at perhaps Niranjan, we'll also need someone to step in right now to also perhaps give us a little bit more details, because we've just got the document barely about few minutes ago. But clearly, if you take a look at some of the pages of this charge sheet that has been filed, they've detailed out the money that was recovered by the enforcement directorate in the searches that were basically carried out. Now, in which the question all this while was being asked whether at all there is any link between Partha Chatterjee and Arpita Mukherjee. It turns out the enforcement directorate in the charge sheet is categorically making a mention of the fact that he was the beneficiary. Partha Chatterjee was the beneficiary of the amount of money that was recovered by the enforcement directorate from the residence of Arpita Mukherjee. In fact, he was also asked about the sale deeds. He was asked as to how he was in possession of the deeds of multiple properties which were registered in the name of Arpita Mukherjee, Iche Entertainment Private Limited and Century Engineering Private Limited. Now, what Partha Chatterjee says is that it was deliberately misstated that all the copies information were provided by his lawyer Shobin Paul for Partha Chatterjee's knowledge. Partha Chatterjee stated that none of the properties belonged to him. Now, despite having the sale deeds, it turns out that Partha Chatterjee still maintains that none of these properties belong to him. He was also asked about his relationship with the properties registered in the name of Arpita Mukherjee and several other companies, to which he says Partha Chatterjee attempted to conceal the correct facts by stating he has no relationship with these properties, and he did not make any payment to Arpita Mukherjee or other companies like Iche Entertainment Private Limited. In fact, I think so. We've got some more details that is now coming. I'm just quickly scrolling down the charge sheet that we have got in page number. In page number 121, we're given to understand that some details of the role of Partha Chatterjee is mentioned in this particular charge sheet. I'll just quickly take you through some of the details that we are picking up right now.
Shravan, I have page 121. You want me to read that? I can. Specific role of the accused, Shravan. I have page 121 here.
Just
Specific role of the accused in the commission of the offence of money laundering by directly or indirectly attempts to indulge or knowingly assist or knowingly is a party or is involved in concealment, possession, acquisition or use in projecting or claiming proceeds of crime as untainted property in terms of section 3 of PMLA. So Partha Chatterjee, name of the accused, role in the case. The enforcement directorate has nailed Partha Chatterjee, role in the case, saying a company named Ananta Texfab, controlled by Partha Chatterjee, found closely linked with family members of Partha Chatterjee, registered at the very premises where the haul of huge cash, 27.9 crores and gold amounting to 4.31 crores was seized. Can anyone deny this now? What will the Trinamool Congress say to this? Partha Chatterjee had made dummy directors in the said company under his control, namely Ananta Texfab, Symbiosis Merchants, Viewmore High Rise. Underprivileged people having meager means of living were exploited, made directors by Partha Chatterjee and thereafter made to sign on the papers. They made to sign on the papers of the company without their consent or knowledge and even without showing them any contents of the documents. The said companies were floated with the sole aim of laundering the tainted funds. Huge amount of money, Shravan. Over 30 crore in cash laundered. And it's all here. That a huge cash amount of 27.9 crore was found at the registered address of the company and the purported directors on paper had no knowledge of it. Investigation conducted under PMLA revealed that cash seized from premises of Arpita belongs to Partha Chatterjee, saying that even the cash seized from Arpita Mukherjee's residence belonged to Partha Chatterjee, as has been categorically accepted by Arpita Mukherjee. Shravan, you're seeing this. So they've directly said that the dummy firms were at the same address where the cash was recovered. Direct link to the Bengal Minister. For how long was this going on, Shravan? I think this is huge embarrassment.
Well, in fact, they've also they've detailed out that Partha Chatterjee, in fact, uses influence and power to subdue people by directing them to arrange for dummy directors and proxies for companies, firms that were controlled by him, that he purchased a number of properties through these companies and Orpita Mukherjee. So there is a clear link that has been established. They are saying investigation that is conducted under PFLA has revealed that he provided a huge cash sum of around 15 crore rupees for constructing a school in the name of his late wife Babli Chatterjee. In fact, perhaps Niranjan, we may be able to pull out our investigation. Our reporters were there on the ground as far as this particular school, DCM school, is concerned, which is in the name of his wife Babli Chatterjee. It now finds a mention in the charge sheet that has been filed by the enforcement directorate. So perhaps we could also pull out the report that was filed by our colleague. It was a Republic Special Investigation Team had got to the ground to find out the link. It turns out that even the enforcement directorate makes a mention of the same school. In fact, they are saying that Partha Chatterjee used these proxies for buying such land and managing construction thereon using the cash amount through his son-in-law Kalyanmoy Bhattacharya. Kalyanmoy Bhattacharya's name also surfaced when Republic TV's crew were on the ground trying to find out what were the linkages. Now let's take a look at the other important fact that they make a mention of in terms of the cash that was recovered. They are saying that investigation that's conducted under the PML has revealed that he acquired huge cash through criminal activities and concealed it in the premises in the name of Orpita Mukherjee, out of which 49 crore rupees subsequently was recovered, seized from the two premises in Clubtown Heights and Diamond City South. Then the investigation team also makes a mention of the fact that Partha Chatterjee had instructed dummy directors to work under Orpita Mukherjee, who was his close associate, in laundering the funds generated through the criminal activities relating to the scheduled offence. So there are several companies that were basically floated, where these companies were given to understand they were dummy directors, and these dummy directors, it turns out that they were basically laundering the money, that too in the name of Orpita Mukherjee. That's the latest that's coming in as far as the charge sheet goes. It's 152 pages, but at least some of the important points that's right now emerging with regards to the investigation that's been carried out. In fact, they also make a mention of Orpita Mukherjee, and they're clearly stating, Enforcement Directorate is clearly stating that Orpita Mukherjee was a close associate of Partha Chatterjee. In fact, they're saying that she knowingly assisted Partha Chatterjee in the process of concealing and the proceeds of crime. She assisted him in possession of the proceeds of crime, clearly established from the cash seizure from her two premises amounting to 49 crore rupees, along with gold and jewellery that is valued about 5.8 crore rupees. They make a mention of the companies that have been linked, Iche Entertainment Private Limited and Century Engineering Private Limited, where Orpita Mukherjee was a director, was formed for the purpose of laundering the funds by the way of depositing the cash in the accounts maintained in the name of companies and subsequently purchasing immovable properties in the name of these companies. So it's very, very clear what was all this while asked, whether at all there is any link between Orpita Mukherjee and Partha Chatterjee. It turns out that has been established in the charge sheet that has been filed, or the investigation that's been filed by the Enforcement Directorate.
And in fact, in one part here, Shawan, the charge sheet mentions that he acquired huge cash through criminal activities, concealed it in the premises of Orpita Mukherjee. They make a direct link that it was his cash, and he got the cash through criminal activities, concealed it in Arpita's house. They've even mentioned the figure here, 49.8 crore rupees. 49.8 crore rupees subsequently recovered, seized from two premises situated at Clubtown Heights, Kolkata, Diamond City South, Kolkata. Investigation conducted under PMLA revealing that Partha Chatterjee was found using the mobile number. There's a mobile number, I'm not showing the mobile number. And they talk about the modus operandi. Dummy directors working under the Orpita Mukherjee, and all the huge funds that were gathered, laundered to criminal activities. They go on to detail the entire criminal conspiracy, revealing that though Partha Chatterjee was not a director in these companies, that is Ananta Texfab, Symbiosis Merchants, Viewmore, HA Entertainment, Century Engineering, but he was in charge and responsible for the day-to-day affairs. So a minister collecting bribes, had shell companies, he was handling these companies, was not responsible for the day-to-day affairs, conducting the business of the said companies. He was the de facto controller of these companies, evident from the statement of Orpita Mukherjee. and Srimoy Datta, Manoj Kumar. So they're saying that Arpita Mukherjee has confessed, Shravan. They're saying Arpita Mukherjee has confessed. That's a big claim being made here. That they're saying Arpita has confessed to Partha's role.
That's right. That's right. There's one more mention which, in fact, how exactly Partha Chatterjee was operating. In page number 117, they say that the intermediaries has clearly stated that they were not in a position to say no to illegal directions of Partha Chatterjee, as he was a powerful and influential minister of the West Bengal state government. It is clear that Partha Chatterjee misused his official position and social standing of being a senior cabinet minister in the state government. That's very clear from the charge sheet that has been filed, and the fact that Arpita Mukherjee has also clearly stated that who's the real owner of these properties and who is the real beneficiary as far as the cash that has been recovered from her residence.
I'm just going to that part here as well. Page number 117. It's here where the charge sheet clearly mentions about how cash was found, how positions were misused, and all the details are here. He was a powerful and influential minister of the West Bengal government. I'm going to take a snapshot of this. Let me take a snapshot and highlight it. That's the snapshot. I'm going to highlight that part here in the charge sheet where they have mentioned that company was formed on the instructions of Partha Chatterjee. And they're saying that the intermediaries were clearly stated that they were not in a position to say no to illegal directions to Partha, as he was a powerful and influential minister of the West Bengal state government. So he basically misused his position. He cheated, made crores of rupees in kickbacks, routed it through shell firms, and it was all going to offshore accounts, perhaps money laundering, cash, and dummy directors were in charge of it, and they were said that they could never speak out. It is clear, the ED charge sheet says, it is clear Partha Chatterjee misused his official position and social standing of being a senior cabinet minister in the state government. What will the Trinamool Congress say now? Shravan, this is a big embarrassment for them, huge embarrassment.
They were essentially demanding that the investigation should be conducted in a speedy manner. Now that the charge sheet has already been filed, which makes a huge revelation in terms of the role that has been played by Partha Chatterjee as a minister in the Mamata government, in itself puts the Mamata government in the dock right now. It raises very serious questions, because here the role becomes amply clear. Of course, Trinamool Congress would say, let the court essentially decide. Of course, the court needs to decide on the charge sheet. But prima facie, if you simply go by the allegations that have been leveled by the Enforcement Directorate and the fact that they've corroborated with the evidence that has been gathered through their investigation, it only makes it extremely difficult and uncomfortable for the Trinamool Congress at this point in time, because the big takeaways, if I may say so, from just a cursory reading of the charge sheet is the fact that one, the link between Partha and Arpita is very clear. Number two, there are properties or immovable properties that have been jointly owned by Partha Chatterjee and Arpita Mukherjee. Number three is the fact that the original beneficiary of the cash that has been recovered by the Enforcement Directorate from Arpita Mukherjee's residence is none other than Senior Minister of Mamata government, that is Partha Chatterjee himself. Fourth, there are witnesses who have come forward saying that there were illegal activities or illegal directions that were given by the senior minister, but they were in no position to basically say no to the minister, simply because he was powerful and extremely influential, and that is the reason why they could not say an illegal directions were given by the minister. Question is that he was basically confronted with all the documents that were accessed or recovered during the searches. He was basically confronted with them. He was asked as to to what were the admit cards of certain candidates doing at his residence. He has admitted to the fact that yes, it was brought to his residence, but he is not sure about the contents of it or how exactly it was brought in. So that in itself is once again an indication that he did not want to really cooperate with the investigative agency to try and explain that if there is absolutely nothing wrong in those documents being at his residence, then why is it that he would not like to explain it to the investigative agencies?